A foreign government threatens U.S. citizens. We're going to dive into that today on the Patriots Table. We are joined again by my lovely wife, Andrea. Now, who can guess which country threatened America? I'd say maybe Russia?
Canada?
No. Can Canada? Oh, it's probably the bad China. It's China.
Chinese, yeah.
China. It's a China. Nope. Nope. It's none other than our good old
It's
friends.
Qatar. No, it's Qatar.
Oh, it could no, no, nope. It's not Qatar. Maybe Iran. Iran. We launch
No,
missiles. No.
I don't think they have the guts to do that.
No. Well, it is good old Israel, our closest ally, the
Mhm.
one we send the most money to. The ties are so close that they're the only ones that get a lobbying group in America in a way that nobody else does.
They don't
But yeah,
register
yeah,
as
they
a
we don't
foreign
they don't
entity.
have to they don't have to register. We're so close. Our ties are so close they don't have to register as a foreign entity. And of course, we're talking about APAC. But Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu openly threatens Americans and in a warfare, in a cyber warfare, and then also it came across to me as physical as well. And we got a video. We're just gonna open up with this video and show you guys exactly what we're talking about.
Influencers. Okay. He said, we talked about the woke right. And he said, I call it the woke Reich. That's a brilliant observation. The woke right. Because these people, they're not any different from the woke left. I mean, they're insane. They're lunatic. But they're actually meeting on some of the things. And what we have to do is we have to secure that part of the base of our support in the United States. That is being challenged systematically. A lot of this is done with money. Money of NGOs, vast. Money of governments, vaster. Okay? We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Our influences. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance. To that community. They're very important. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well. Okay? And you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefield in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is class followers. TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one? That's most important. X. That's very good. And, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot. And I could go on other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight. Okay? To give direction to the Jewish people and give direction to our non-Jewish friends or those who could be our Jewish our friends. Are we going to succeed with everyone? No. Will there be a strong counterpart? Yes.
Okay, I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. So many things to unpack with that.
So,
First off, the very first thing, the woke Reich. I mean, how disgusting. We're going to compare people who do not agree with what he's doing, with what the Israeli government is doing. We're going to rope those people in with just straight up Nazis. We're going to compare the people that did the Holocaust. Like we're essentially he's comparing us to people who slaughtered millions of Jews in gas chambers and execution style firing squads. Like because we don't agree, we're the same as that. Absolutely disgusting. I want to let you guys get some of
it's
your thoughts
funny.
on this too.
It's funny because that's what he's doing. And he kind of, right? I mean, that's the
Narcissist.
irony about it all. I mean, he's doing exactly what he's claiming that we are supposedly doing. So I have a question for you, since the show is apparently on his radar as one of the one that we are asking questions and we are now Nazis. And he specifically mentioned that it's done because of money. Do we get money for doing this?
I'm
No.
looking for it.
I mean,
Geez,
yeah,
like
I wouldn't
if
mind
I'm gonna
getting
be
some.
called it, we might as well be getting paid
Might as
for
well,
it. Where
yeah. I
is
mean,
the
like,
money?
this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. People who can think critically for themselves, who are witnessing firsthand, I mean, like firsthand, secondhand, third, and whatever. I mean, like independent news outlets, videos that are circulating, people that we know are from that region, and asking the right questions. And he is putting us in a part of Nazis, and then also claiming that we are doing this for money. And then again, it's again deflection. The irony is, and I think Andrea, you can speak to this. With
Mhm.
the TikTok acquire, I mean, they did acquire TikTok. I mean, now things
hmm
have changed dramatically on there. It's all about protecting the Israel narrative. And what are those people getting?
$6,000 to $8,000 per post.
Per post,
Paid per
right?
Per
post
post.
and paid
So,
for by our tax dollars because we're funneling all the money over there, and then they're going to pay some people here to push their narrative and propaganda because you don't have to pay people that want to talk about the truth. We don't need
right.
paid. We care about the truth. You only pay people because you have a specific thing you want them to do.
In other words, you pay people to lie. I mean, that's the bait. I mean,
Mhm.
let's call it what it is, right? If you
Mhm.
want people to lie, you got to pay them, because people don't just lie for free. I mean, some may, I don't know, but generally the media lies because they're getting paid by their sponsors. I mean, similarly, if you're an influencer and you're being told this is what you have to say, no matter what the truth is, then you got to pay them. So that's what's
Mhm.
going on. So it's,
Well,
for me, like,
and on TikTok,
where does this country stand on that? I mean, that's one of the questions. I mean, what is Trump saying? I mean, like, has he said anything about this?
I haven't seen him say anything. I saw
No.
Marjorie Taylor Greene come out and speak to it, and she said they should have to register under a foreign lobby if they're going to be pushing any narratives from a foreign
Right.
country.
Which basically changes the way our people view things and may even like cast a vote. So they're literally interfering in our political process, our socioeconomic processes, everything. So we have the most powerful lobby that can do a lot of damage to this country. And we have an administration that is quiet about it. We have an administration that's funneling tax dollars to this country to murder people in the West Bank and Gaza. And I don't know what else there is to do to make us look any worse than we are looking right now to the rest of the world. And, not to go away from the subject, but there is a huge amount of like aid, boats carrying aid that are from like several countries. And Andrea, I think you have the numbers that are
46
coming.
countries.
Yeah, 46 countries, and somewhere around 400 or whatever uh, vessels that are coming in with aid, with medicine, with supplies. I mean, these people are starving. They have no medical care because Israel has bombed all their hospitals, killed off their
Mhm.
doctors. I mean, we watched a video recently where a doctor was standing at a door and he was like sniped right while he was standing talking to a patient. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's going on down there. For those of you foolish people who still support this for whatever reason that you're doing it. So this will be a moment of truth because they've already, I think, intercepted a few of the leading boats, but there's
Mhm.
too many coming in, and that would be. I think this was tried once before, and they actually destroyed all the boats that came to the West Bank. This would be a moment of truth with the whole world watching, and many of the
Mhm.
national, international criminal courts and countries and organizations, NGOs, they have actually claimed and definitely have seen what's going on and called it a genocide to see what they do. Okay, so this may be a defining moment, and the U.S. is silent, which is, and then not only silent, their government is shut down because these baboons can't agree on simple things like keeping the country running. So what more can we expect from them?
I mean, I do want to point out, like, this wasn't, Netanyahu didn't just talk about TikTok and X. He mentioned drones.
Yeah.
And and I may be missing one or two things here, but primarily in my understanding, there's really just two things that drones are used for in warfare: surveillance
Uh-huh.
and launching missiles.
Right.
So we're already being surveilled by Israel. A lot of people don't know. You have your, ExpressVPN and stuff like that. That's run by in Israel. So I think the surveillance is already done. So what else could he be talking about? And the moment he mentioned drones, he's like, I won't get into that. And I bet you won't, because anything like that was already probably too much. Like, we have an quote unquote ally, a foreign leader, threatening a portion of the American people
Yeah.
with a modern warfare because we don't agree, and said we're just as bad as the woke left. I mean, in my opinion, I don't care where you are politically, where you align politically. I think us as Americans should be able to say, yeah, if a foreign country, a foreign leader is saying threatening stuff, like, we should be able to come together and say, nope, that's not happening. That's not okay. I don't
Well,
care which
and
side of the aisle you sit on.
a lot of these people that are for this or supporting the situation at hand, some of them stood with us during COVID, where we were all going to be censored. I was booted off Facebook and X. I lost my X account during COVID until Trump got back in office. So back then it was, oh, we can't have censorship. Bill Gates is influencing things. All of them were talking about it, connecting the dots in this. It's the same thing, except because they somehow want to interpret into something they support. They're silent and they're justifying it.
Yeah.
That's
This
bizarre to me.
this is it's I mean, from what I've seen, it's mainly because it's a turned into a religious argument. This
It
has
is.
nothing to do with morality to them. It has nothing to do with any type of rights or censorship. It's, my religion says this is what I need to do, so I'm just going to go with that. My preacher is saying on the pulpit that we need to bless Israel. I have you know how many politicians are singing Israel's praise. I mean, everybody, even Trump has gone over there and kissed that damn wall.
Yeah.
All of them have done it. Even on the left, it's a con on the religious portion of America, and that is a huge portion of the country. Period.
Some
At
of them
least
are
during
starting.
COVID.
Yeah, some of them are starting to wake up because I've been talking to a lot of people, and they some of the people listen to our podcast, and they're kind of getting the picture because we've been kind of covering a lot of the whys. I mean, like the history, because a lot of these people don't know the history of the region, right? I mean, they think that Israel was there all along, and then up came, there was the Palestinians, and they started fighting. No, there was no Israel there till 1947. I mean, like, it was a British colony. That whole area was under the British till 18, or even maybe later. So this is like, people need a geography lesson, and they're saying like, oh, why don't they leave? I mean, like, leave where? I mean, they're kind of covered from east,
Oh,
north, south, and west, east, and then there's a sea on the west. So like, what are
Egypt
you talking?
offered to take, and we've talked about this a while ago on I forget which episode, but Egypt offered to take them. Egypt did.
Right.
Israel said no. They said no. The Palestinians has offered to release the hostages as long as they leave them alone afterwards. That's not good enough for Israel.
Uh-huh.
They
Hamas.
want they they want They want Gaza. That's essentially what it
Oh
is.
yeah, I mean that was
It,
obvious. I mean they have, in fact, today, I think it was today. I mean there was a two-state. I mean, like many countries in Europe are now starting to get the picture of what's going on in there, and they're supporting a two-state solution. So, I mean, I don't know if you were probably, little, but when Yasser Arafat, I mean, like the PLO leader, actually negotiated in Oslo a two-state peace agreement. Okay, but ever since, like, and it was almost like Trump. He even won a Nobel Peace Prize for that negotiation. And then once he died, around that same time came Netanyahu taking over Israel, and one of his his goals was to literally drive the Palestinians out of there and annex Gaza and the West Bank to Israel. So this is like basically the Zionist idea of the Greater Israel concept, or whatever they want to call it. And the reason why they're fighting constantly is because Israel keeps wanting to bomb them off. I mean, like they've been doing this since 48. Okay, I mean they got that land in 47, and then since that time or shortly afterwards, they've been attacking the Palestinians and trying to drive them out of there. And then people start to wonder, why do how did these terrorists come into being, right? I mean, if you continuously bomb a population, you're going to create terrorists. You're going to create people who hate you and will do anything to get back at you. I mean, this is what is going on. I'm not supporting what Hamas is doing. I mean, I don't agree with some of their, the way they do certain things. But Israel was, I mean, like these two countries were very close to reaching an agreement and living peacefully like they used to before Israel came in there. I mean, the Palestinians had Jews. Palestine had Jews, Christians, Muslims. They all lived together in harmony until this, Arab-Israel war started. And this is what people need to understand. I mean, I don't care what your Bible says. They're not talking about the people who are running Israel right now. Whoever those people they're referring to, that is promised that land, those are not the people who are running the show there right now. Because nothing they do conforms to anything in the Bible that I have read.
Well,
And
and
yes,
what's
read it.
yeah, and what's even more bizarre is yesterday on the topic of Netanyahu and Trump and Netanyahu are sitting like, speaking or whatever. And Netanyahu uses the verse, those who bless Israel will be blessed. And he's just, you can just see the sheer manipulation on his face. He doesn't
Yeah.
believe anything he's saying.
Oh,
He's just
absolutely not.
milking it for everything he can. And then he makes a comment towards Tucker Carlson, and Trump says nothing. Like that's supposed to be someone that you have allied with. You do like support each other. And he's like
Uh-huh.
threatening him in a subtle, passive aggressive way. And we're just tolerating this.
Yeah.
I mean,
And this
it's
is because they're
insane.
all blackmailed, right? I mean, Israel has successfully blackmailed most of the world leaders and governments in order
Hmm.
to achieve their goals and to have them keep them at bay and not have them interfere. And some of them are beginning to have the courage to fight back, saying, like, you know what, we don't care. And this is the reason why we have 400 ships now coming over, and they're like within 40 nautical miles of the West Bank. Tomorrow, we probably should see what happens to those guys, which will be interesting because the whole world is watching. And
Hmm.
it's, and the US will have to say something or do something if they attack those ships. If
And
not,
those are
I mean,
ships aren't military ships either.
they're
They're just
not.
people
They're
moving stuff.
no,
civilian,
no.
they're Red Cross, they're medical and
And
food supplies.
and they can't blame Hamas this time if something
No.
happens. They control everything there. They cannot. They've been blaming Hamas for the humanitarian aid going into the Gaza Strip for months and months and months now.
Yeah. Which is
So
also a
this,
lie. I mean, it's a
yeah,
total lie.
I mean it's a lie too. I'm just like
Yeah.
they don't have an excuse. This is going, if they do anything, it's going to be for the whole world to see because everybody's watching now.
Yeah.
And, I want to bring up to, Andrea's point about Netanyahu trashing Tucker on our soil. Like, I don't care who it is. If a foreign leader comes to our country and starts trashing our citizens, I don't care if it's Chuck Schumer and I don't agree with anything that guy says. Trump, don't disrespect a U.S. senator
Yeah.
and on national TV. Like, you just don't do that. It's disrespectful. You know,
Or call
we're
American citizens the woke right. I mean,
right.
just go down the list
He
of the
can.
things he's just allowed to do and say whatever he wants in our own White House. Like he's standing there
Right.
on our soil in our own government and saying whatever he
And
wants.
how long ago? How it wasn't that long ago that Zelensky sat in the White House and Trump. You saw a different Trump then. It was,
Oh
you're not
yeah.
going to do this. You're not going to treat us this way. You are so
Mhm.
But
disrespectful and this and
Netanyahu,
that.
we
Yet
bow down and kiss his butt. So
Netanyahu, he can say whatever he
Yeah.
wants about anybody. Like, are you kidding me?
And we
Did
know if a
Trump's
Trump is not
balls
religious,
fall
right?
off? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And then there's
well,
another thing, and I haven't even brought this up on the show that I don't understand. One thing that we have chanted, that America has chanted, is bringing freedom to the Middle East, right? We're bringing democracy to the Middle East, which is
That's
it's a
another.
crock of
Yeah.
it's a
so
crock of
Yep.
shit. It's a crock of shit. We know that's a crock of shit. But if that's what we're all about, why are we so for the government of Israel when they're not even there's no democracy in Israel like that. I mean, it
no,
is.
you stay the long thing, you can go to prison, and that's
Yeah,
that.
it's you are always under, like, it's similar to what we say, like, evil China does with
Uh-huh.
people, but yet they're like the shining example of what we need in the Middle East. So people don't even understand how the Israeli government is set up and what Israeli citizens are going through. Like, if you replace the name Israel with Iran, Americans would be like, "Oh, they need freedom."
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And
We'll be in there trying to depose of the regime and put one of our puppets in there, which is what we, are
right,
great at doing,
Actually,
right? I mean, we have destabilized the Middle East more than any other country in the world, uh, under the guise of, pushing democracy.
freedom.
When we are not a democracy ourselves. I mean, we are a republic, constitutional republic. So I don't understand that either. But anyway, so yeah, to me it's crazy because these people who support Israel and what they're doing and they're blaming Hamas for it all need to understand some history and geography. That's really important. And I think we have posted this stuff everywhere. I mean, I posted these, I think you saw two of the articles that explains, in a good, concise manner, the actual history of what happened and, how Palestine came from, the pre-1918s to, the PLO, and then, beyond that into the hands of Hamas. All of that is important because those things play a role in what's going today. And I think to a great extent, Israel actually wants Hamas there because that's their crutch to do what they're doing,
Excuse.
right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's the excuse. I mean, they are using Hamas to ethnically cleanse Palestine. And eventually, I mean, you can't tell me that they don't have the capacity to just walk in there. I mean, in a landlocked region that they've bombed to rubble, that
Well,
they are
and
not
like just
capable of
recently,
doing
he
that.
did a broadcast on all of their phones and everything of him
Yeah.
talking. He had
right,
Well,
access to every phone in Gaza. So how do you not know where terrorists are? That seems easy. You can blow up pagers in another
yeah.
country on terrorists. So
right.
there's no excuse for that. And I would
I,
encourage people, like, if you don't have time to like research 60 things, there's some books that get you in the right direction, like Whitney Webb's One Nation Under Blackmail. Robbie, you have a book and I can't think of the name and I have it right now. What was it? The Making the Mossad or something?
oh no, it was the Viktor Ostrovsky's book, By Way of Deception.
Yeah, that one.
Right.
That that
Yeah,
that
and
that details a lot of what the Mossad is capable of doing, and that's they've carried out. In fact, even Yasser Arafat. I mean, they are not quite certain that he died a normal death because he was supposedly radiation poisoned. Uh, because he was anything that anybody does in Palestine to support a two-state solution gets killed off. because they don't want that, because they want to drive everybody out of there. If they have to kill them, they'll do it too, which is what they're doing. They'll starve them to death or kill them or bomb them or whatever and take their land over. This is the goal. I mean, this is the ultimate goal of the Zionists who are controlling, running Israel now. And you have to see this. I mean, if you don't see it and you keep saying that, well, they are just doing it because of Hamas and they're allowed to take that land because that was promised to them, nonsense. Nothing that
Right.
was just happened to be the land that they chose for whatever reason. I mean, apparently they checked out a few other places and decided they were not good for them. So this didn't fall into their lap. I mean, it was given to them by the British, right? So now you can't just use a quote in a Bible written 2000 years ago and then support what is going on now. That is an absolute disaster. And
Yeah.
people
Oh,
cannot be that stupid. I mean, like, I don't know. Can they be that stupid? I mean,
well,
like you said, these are people.
I think people are that gullible, and I think there needs to be this needs to be explained because from what people were taught, when people think of terrorists, they think of groups like Hamas, um, Al Qaeda, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't. It's terrorism isn't restricted to the Middle East. It's an act, just like murder is
correct.
an act. And
Yeah.
the definition of terrorism, I'll read it for the listener. It is the unlawful use of violence or threat of violence, often for political, religious, or ideological reasons, to intimidate or coerce a government, civilian population, or any segment thereof in order to achieve certain political, social, or ideological goals.
I mean, that fits Israel.
Israel, I like to a T. So
Yeah.
when
COVID,
when
that was
people
our
are saying
government.
right, so it's all like terrorism is not exclusive to stuff like to organizations like Hamas or Al Qaeda or these things. Like terrorism is how you act as a group or a government, and the state of Israel is totally turned into, in my opinion, a terrorist state. They're committing acts of terrorism every single day, and they have been since the beginning of this conflict, and it's been caught on camera. It's been reported over and over again. They've even tripped up because they're lie on top of lie and they can't get their lie straight. They've admitted to committing acts of terrorism. And people need to wake up and really understand this. It's not, and I think I said this last episode too. Even if that is God's chosen people, you should be calling them to act like it, not
Um,
committing genocide and acts of terrorism that they are doing.
Against women and children. This is not it's not a war. It's not a war when you are killing unarmed women and children and starving them to death. That is not considered,
It's not war.
that's not war. And I can tell you for a fact that, I mean, if you look at all the terrorist organizations that are around the world, most of them were created through anger that led to hate. So they're angry about something. And for the most part, it's because somebody is killing them for no reason. I mean, like I mean, people say like, oh, we've got to bomb Iran because they chant death to the USA on the streets. Well, why do you think they do that? I
Right.
mean, during the
Nobody asked
Iran-Iraq
that
war,
question. They just
yeah.
get offended, right?
I mean, it's dumb. You got to look at it. I mean, like, what did we do during the Iran-Iraq war? I mean, we provided all the arms and the support to Saddam Hussein, who was Iraq. Because we were allies with Iraq at the time, and then that he used that to fight back, against Iran. So there's a lot of Iranians who know that U.S. support and bombs and guns killed their people. So it's a normal reaction to that. And terrorism isn't born through, somebody preaching it to them. I mean, this is born through anger and fear and hate that comes from seeing this stuff. So you think 20, 30 years from now, I mean, the children and the children of children in the region of the Gaza region, they're not going to like sit down and say, oh, that's okay. I mean, there are not that many Erica Cooks in this world who are going to, forgive their husband's killer. Ain't gonna happen. We
Mhm.
have questions about that too, but that's another episode later on. But uh, but this is what's gonna happen, right? And I think as the big brother to the whole world, I mean, we get involved in everybody's nonsense around the world, whether they ask us to or not. We need to take the side of like being the right side of righteousness, at least, right? And we're not
Well,
doing
and
it.
add to that too, I don't like our country is not okay. Like you can sit here and we can all pretend it's not the case, but how about this isn't our problem and we shouldn't be funding wars and we shouldn't be funding corrupt and genocidal maniacs in Israel. We should be focusing on our home and minding our own business and building our country, which isn't happening. I mean, we're giving all of our money overseas to all these things and we're not getting better. The economy's not getting better. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some things Trump's done better, but we're in trouble.
Hmm. I mean, our
This
infrastructure
this
is
has
crumbling.
been
Our government
this
is
has
shut
been
down.
this way since World War II. Since we
Yeah.
decided to get involved in World War II, it has been this way. We've tried to play world police and become the sole.
I would even say it's deeper than that. I don't think it's world police. We actually are creating problems
We
to
are.
shift powers in countries. I mean, look at all of the power changes that we've instilled. Like, look at Saudi Arabia. The
Uh-huh.
guy running in the, is it Syria now? We have an ex-Al Qaeda running the country,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and we're
Yep.
going to talk about how bad Hamas is. And then this guy comes to New York and comes to our government and gets to sit there and act like everything's just cool now.
Yeah, because he probably signed some kind of secret agreement that he's not going to attack Israel anymore because those are the neighboring countries. I mean, like, so we destabilize, like Ali explained. I mean, like, in a previous episode, and that's absolutely true. The U.S. helped destabilize all of the Middle East and the countries surrounding Israel because Israel wants all of that area and neighbors who are not going to be a threat to them. That's their goal. I mean, that this is the concept of having this greater Israel territory, right?
Mhm.
And we have helped them get there. So other than Iran that is now standing alone, uh, there's nobody else who's going to fight them.
Well, and even add to that, people like since this power change, now that we have this ex-Al Qaeda in charge, they're killing Christians. They're burning farms.
Mhm.
There's all
Yep.
kinds of horrific things happening. Everybody's just looking away. We had a heart. We took part in that, and Israel did. So you're going to
Yep.
act like this is some biblical thing or holy thing. Then why are you turning your head to this? This isn't okay. This is just a continued cycle. Same with like Ukraine. Destabilize the government, replace it with a puppet, and now you have this war that hasn't stopped and has taken just as much money as Israel in the past few years
Yeah.
in a small amount of time.
There was great President Obama who did that one in
Mr.
2014, right?
Spandex Pants,
Yeah. And I
Zelensky.
mean, every single one of them has done this. I mean, every single president since Reagan that I can remember has been involved in this. And they have done something to the order of, being supportive to the Israeli cause. We created problems, we created wars, wasted our money, and then, people are still supporting it because it's something is
Mhm.
said in a book somewhere. And I'm not against that. I mean, that's fine if you can believe that, but you have to also realize and look at these people and see like, would these be the people who are these chosen people? I mean, why are they doing stuff like this? I mean, I just saw uh, I forget who it was, but it was somebody from Israel, and he was talking about what their end goal was. And one of the things he said, which was very scary, he said that according to their good book, I mean, everybody's following the good book now, right? And some good book, I don't know what, uh, that they have to eliminate 6.5 billion people off the planet because that's what their book tells them to do because they're all idol worshippers. And these people who are supporting them now are included in that because,
Mhm.
they support Jesus, the cross, I mean, our church, all this stuff. They're included in the 6.5 billion. So this is the whole concept. Like, expand their land, expand their power, blackmail everybody around the world, and then one way or the other, find a way to ethnically cleanse these people or religiously cleanse them, whatever you want to call it, so that they can, rule, be the sole chosen people ruling the world. To go back, I
Yeah,
mean,
they
we have
consider
like,
other people that don't believe like them and are in the same circle as
yeah,
them as lesser.
like
There's no
absolutely,
such
yeah,
thing as a human being that's worth less. Like you cannot, the minute you start speaking that way, which is why there's a genocide happening, right? You've heard how
uh-huh,
many politicians say there's no such thing as a Palestinian?
right,
They just openly talk this way, as if they don't matter. They're lesser human beings, their lives, nothing. They're just, oh, well, we can just blow them up. Or, I mean, we had Netanyahu, I think it was the first year since October 7th, he compared them to animals,
yeah.
like little children and women and innocent people to animals. He's capable of anything then, because he doesn't see them as worth a human being.
I mean, I
Well,
watched a short video clip of U.S. Greenberry. I mean, I don't know, Trey, if you saw this or not, but it was a former Greenberry was being interviewed. I forget by who, but he had seen, he was in Palestine for a short period of time, and he had seen this little kid who had come
PJ
to
Tucker.
get some rations,
yeah.
and he had a little, packet of rice, and he had actually picked the lentils from the ground, I guess, because people get shot while they're shopping or like coming in for aid, so the food gets scattered all over. And he was actually walking back when in front of his eyes his kid was sniped. I mean, so you cannot tell me that's Hamas or like the food's being taken by Hamas, and it's not Hamas. I mean,
Hmm.
this child was killed in cold blood for coming to get some food, and he was already like starving.
Right.
Yep.
Oh,
It was
I
and
don't
he was he
understand this.
Anthony Aguilar.
and
Yeah, there you
and
go.
Anthony Aguilar was arrested for
Oh,
speaking up.
I bet.
There's a video of
His
him
mother
being
came walking.
hauled away. He was in uniform with a colleague. They were both in uniform and they were out speaking up and against all this. And yeah, they were hauled away in handcuffs for doing that. I mean, and this was a guy, really decorated soldier, served,
Uh-huh.
and retired, and he didn't have to do any of this. He was living his life good. He heard what was going on, went, saw firsthand what was going on, and has come under such ridicule, it's been horrible. And then to get that, it's really bad. And he even pointed out in that story, Ravi, that what they were doing to the Palestinians is as they were leaving, they were shooting at them,
Mhm.
and obviously they were scattering and being killed. And then the head of that organization that's running those aid camps, humanitarian aid camps, said no, we weren't doing that. It was just warning shots above their head. And this
Yeah,
is where I'm talking about that people don't seem to know this. That is a war crime. That's not allowed. You don't just fire. There's rules of engagement. There's
A
stuff that we have
7-year-old.
to.
yeah,
So you are not allowed to shoot in the direction of non-combatants. You're not allowed to do that. That is an act of terrorism. I mean, that's literally what we were just talking about.
yeah.
And these these bullets, I mean, they're not. These guys don't care. You have kids, women getting just hit out of these crowds, leaving these. He was saying that they were walking 5-7 kilometers
Uh-huh.
for rice and lentils without water.
Yeah,
And they don't have running water, so they didn't even have the means to cook the food that they were getting
right.
in the first place. So there you had this little kid walk that far to try and get food just to get shot leaving with the food.
Yeah,
Talk about barbaric.
right. Yeah, and
The
this is
interview
like,
is on Tucker if people want to watch it. I mean, there's a full interview that Tucker did with him.
I think I might have. That's probably where I saw that. I mean, I saw him getting interviewed, and it's absolutely crazy to think that that sort of thing is can be just let go and like can be allowed, and then we can support these people still. And I think for the this may be a good thing that's happening because of it, because a lot of countries that were earlier not supportive are starting to change their stance, which may be which may be something that is the start of some kind of tide against them, which may also be the reason why Israel is pushing so hard to censor the information coming out of there. I mean, they've literally killed 250 or so foreign journalists on that soil right now. So no, you know, nobody's, everybody's afraid to go report from there. I mean, there is still, I think, some satellite, reporting or whatever. I mean, I saw recently an article
Well,
in the
Israel's
Times.
There's
denying journalists into Gaza. There's
Yeah.
journalists signing
Are they?
letters trying to pressure them to let them
but
in. They're not letting
they
journalists in.
they can't stop the internet though. All you have to do is go on
No,
X or even
can't shut it down.
Yeah.
Instagram, and there are Palestinians that are not journalists, are not reporters that
Yeah.
just picked up their phone and are just videotaping what's going on, the living
Uh-huh.
conditions. And I think this is something that Charlie Kirk pointed to very well when it taught when in one of his more famous quotes about if you don't have conversation with people, it quickly turns to violence because you start to not see you don't see the humanity in the other side.
Right.
So you have people in the US that all they're being fed, whether it's through an algorithm or what they're choosing to look at, is the extreme terrorism, the extreme terrorist groups chanting death and this some crazy ritual dances. I've seen ritual dances that nobody knows what they mean because they don't understand their culture, and just because that doesn't look American, and they put on some threatening headline. This is what they want to do to America, and you watch that and they sow nothing but hate and disdain for people, and you fail to see their humanity, and you're not seeing the little children with limbs blown apart, little kids skin and bones crying out
Uh,
for food because they're starving, or a mother and father wailing, holding half of their child because a missile from Israel that's a made in America blew that kid in half.
yeah.
Nobody sees or seeing the humanity in this. All they're seeing is evil, and that's how you get people to say, "Oh, they're no better than animals."
Uh, yeah. It's very sad. Well, it's very sad. I mean, the thing that people also need to understand is that they're not going to stop with Palestine,
Oh.
right?
No,
I mean, this is what it
no,
is. I mean, so where does
Hamas
it
is
end?
gonna move out of Palestine and then get into Qatar or Egypt, or it's gonna get
they
into
already bombed
somewhere.
Qatar
Yeah, they buy. So
using that excuse.
that's why you have these terrorist groups and they keep them around,
Uh-huh.
and we fund them
Yeah.
to help keep them around, so Israel has an excuse. That's what we did with our wars, and we created the excuse
Uh-huh.
to go in there and do what we did. Israel is creating the excuse to go do what it wants to do, and it's greater Israel expansion.
Yeah. It is
Hmm.
crazy. I can tell you that.
Uh,
So it'd be interesting to see how the things pan out in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
Trey should, I don't think he has it, but there was this really good clip I saw today he actually sent to me, but it was a professor and he's teaching his students and he abruptly tells one student to leave and never come back and he's not going to ask twice. And everyone's just frozen, okay? And the girl walks out and he's sitting there and he's like, do you believe in laws? He goes on about that and he goes, do you think it's fair that I told her to leave? And they're like, no. He's like, well, why didn't you do anything?
I've seen that before.
Why
Yeah.
didn't you do anything about it? And, this is the thing. He's like, you allowed it because it didn't directly affect you. And that's the thing. People, I get asked all the time, why are you speaking on this? You don't live there. Why do you have to even go here? And it's like, because I think you should speak up when you see something that's wrong and evil happening to another person. Like I have never been able to sit and watch someone suffer, or you see people sitting there taking videos of something happening to someone. That would be the person going and trying to stop what was happening.
Yeah.
And it's, we're just going to sit here and you're going to say, well, it's not my problem. It's not happening to me. No, this is your problem.
It
And
will
your
become
tax
your
dollars are
problem.
coming in.
Yeah.
And it
Not
is your
only that,
problem now.
yeah, well, it's a problem now too, but it's going to come to you when it comes to your doorstep because people
Mhm.
forget also. I mean, we have talked about APAC before. I mean, they own the Israel lobby owns the U.S. government. So literally,
Mhm.
they have control over what happens to you right now. They're not using it because they haven't reached whatever goals they want to reach with our help yet. The only way this is going to stop is if we have a leader, which we thought we did. I mean, we voted for this guy, so we thought he was going to do the right thing, which obviously he's not. Uh, who can stop this and then just say, you know what, you guys are not who we think you are. We're not going to support whatever you're doing anymore. We will still support the Jewish state, but not what you guys are doing. Somebody needs to say that.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why Charlie Kirk is no longer with us is because I think people started to realize he was that person up and coming who was a Christian, supported Israel, supported the Jews, but didn't like what was going on in there and was starting to question it. That kind of
Mhm.
person becomes an immediate target because the day that happens in the US, that's when this nonsense stops. Because until then, these people who are running the show. We are electing back and forth, 4 years this way, 4 years that way. They're the same two wings of the same bird. They're not going to change, or they're not going to change their attitude
That's
towards
all. That's
Israel,
why they make
right?
everything a political issue
Yeah,
in
correct.
the U.S., a left versus right.
Yep.
Because as long as you're focused on it being on the politics in the party, you will continue to keep voting in the people that support this
Yep.
stuff. And one of a great quote for this situation, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor.
Oh yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. It was the same thing
Mhm.
with COVID.
I mean, yeah, with COVID, like, I don't know, we can all speak to our own personal experiences, obviously, it's very married. But, when COVID went down, growing up the way I did, we weren't about big pharma, we were homeschoolers, and, we lived our lives independently to ourselves and avoided the government as much as possible. And when this all went down, it was a direct threat to our lives. It was a direct threat to my father's business. It was a direct threat to your job. And it's like, oh, we had to stand up and, to look around and have friends, neighbors, and some family willing to betray you and turn you
Uh-huh.
in for an agenda that they were getting brainwashed by was scary. It was like, wow, we have our government talking about putting us in camps, taking
Yeah.
our kids away if we don't vaccinate them. I mean, the things I will never forget the things that were said. I can forgive it, move on, but I will never forget. And this is like the same thing. Are you just going to sit here and watch this happen and wait till it's at your doorstep? And, for years, a lot of us knew that medical freedom was under attack. Ravi, you were in advocacy for
Um,
how long before COVID? You
oh,
saw it
like, I don't
coming.
know, 10 years at least.
Yes. So you saw this coming and then COVID hits and it's like, oh yeah, this was coming. We've
Uh-huh.
tried warning you. You wouldn't listen. And it took how much tragedy, death, and chaos for people to even start kind of standing against it?
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
Well,
5 years later, they're realizing what we said back then was true. And it's the same thing. I mean, you're going to realize this five, because 2030 is the agenda. I mean, the agenda 2030, I'm now fully convinced the World
Hmm.
Economic Forum, these people are all in with the Zionists. So these are all,
Hmm.
coordinated attacks on the human way of living, which they will control as, to the best of their ability, which, already half the people are embedded in it already. I mean, the technology push was for that. And people are falling into the pit and now they can't get out of it. I mean, there's two generations who will just be lost if they don't have their cell phones. right? I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't know where my cell phone was all day today, and I survived. I mean, that is over. That generation is over, right? So this is what people don't understand. Like, someday when they come for you, you're not going to remember what we're telling you today, but it is coming. And then you will be glad that 5 years after that, you will say, oh, you know what? These guys did say this on their podcast. And we didn't
Right.
listen because we were so focused on our own little agenda of supporting the people, God's chosen people, or whatever they call them. But,
And I'll even add to this. So in 2019, October 2019, before lockdowns happened, you start digging when you hear things happen and you pay attention. But I found this document written by, I believe, the UN. It was scenarios for the future. And in that, after COVID happened, which predicted everything that was going to happen, that did happen during COVID, down to lockdowns, all of it. Like you could tell the future, and I wasn't a wizard. Like I would just say, this is what's going to happen. It would happen. But in that, after COVID ended, they planned for uprisings and wars and to find ways to start wars to reshape the entire world. What's about to happen right now? Like, do people stop and think and see how it is connected? I've had people saying, oh, this isn't the same as COVID. I'm like, no, it's a part of the same rapid
same
moving
agenda.
train we've been on, the same agenda,
Yep.
and it's written out perfectly and it's playing right into their hands, even down to resisting. I mean, they account for us to speak up. They account for us to resist. I
Oh, yeah.
think these people are arrogant. I don't think their plans can go as planned as much if people don't comply and don't shut up and don't get intimidated and keep speaking up. But this is all
I-
being planned out.
And that document is just out there. I remember we were handing it out when we were protesting the lockdown.
No.
It was lockstep scenarios for the future, and it's out there. People can go and Google it and
Oh, they're
find
not
it.
hiding it anymore.
No,
they're
no,
not
it's
hiding it
that's
anymore at
just
all.
it. Like
Yeah.
it's out there for everybody to see, but people do not care unless it affects them. We saw that during COVID. It isn't until people get uncomfortable and aren't able to live their lives the way they want to live. That's why, when people in Ohio, I don't know about all the other states, but the big thing in Ohio was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It was like, yeah,
that was global.
we can do 2 weeks. Yeah, we can do 2 weeks. That's not a big deal. And then that 2 weeks turned into what, a month, and then
3 years.
6 months, and then the years go by, and it wasn't until what people don't understand is that 2 weeks was just as much not okay as the 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was never allowed to happen.
none of it was okay.
Yeah.
Everybody just got sick and tired of playing along. So, okay, we'll do something now. No, stand, and we've talked about this multiple times on your show. Stand your ground on your morals. What you know is right. Don't waver it because of what your neighbors might think, what people might think about you. Your morals and your guide through life is who you are. And you standing on that makes you who you are. Don't bend on that. If murder is wrong, if your belief system is murder and killing innocent women and children is wrong, it doesn't matter if Israel's doing it in the church and your pastor says, bless Israel. No, that is wrong. Period. And stand your ground on that. Who cares who doesn't like it?
And again, it's not about the people of Israel. It's not against the Jewish people, right? It's against the people who are committing the crimes, who right now happen to be the people who are running the Jewish state.
And I'll even add to that. It's just as bad as, when we question these things, we get accused and called a ton of names. I think the new one yesterday was conspiracy tard on your feed, Robbie. That's what I was called.
Conspiracy tard.
Yeah, it's really stupid. I don't want myself as a human being. My government does not reflect me. I can sit here and be questioned. People can look at my government. I would hope people in other countries don't go, oh, everyone in that country should be wiped out. Look at their government. And that's probably what some people are saying. So imagine yourself as the shoes on the other foot. Do you as a human being reflect your government? Do you deserve to get blown up and killed because of your government? Because our government's done some pretty horrific things on both sides.
Oh yeah.
My favorite argument to that, right now in pretty much every state, to some degree, some form of abortion is legal. If there was a country that thought that that was just so inhumane that we are genociding our children
What is
that
it,
came in
genocide?
here, or infanticide of our
Infanticide. Yeah.
children, and came here and said, "You all voted for this.
We're
All,
gonna kill
all
everybody.
of you are doomed." There would be all the Christian church. Oh no, we're not against it. Don't. That was them. That was our government. We
Then we
voted
don't
against it.
care. We're
Blah blah blah
blowing
blah
you up.
blah.
That's the
But
standard they're holding the Palestinians
but
to.
if it's the Palestinians and over in Gaza, well, they elected Hamas. They're all terrorists. They all deserved what they're getting. It's like you're a bunch of hypocrites. You are a bunch of hypocrites with no sense of morality. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it anymore.
No, you
It's
cannot.
disgusting.
You cannot. See, the only silver lining to this cloud that I can see is that, now the U.S. has shifted from being politically divided to being religiously
No,
divided, right? Like we have
you're
people from,
politically divided, and then within the politics, you're
yeah,
morally divided within the parties
right.
now. It's
So
like
now,
so
we are
twisted.
bound by the woke Reich, right? Left and
I'm
right.
not.
We
I'm.
have to laugh at him, okay? It's horrible that he said that. We just have to laugh. You gotta,
I
we gotta
mean,
laugh.
what else are you going to do, right?
Because
That's
it's
what,
that stupid. It's
I'm
not.
not gonna
It's not
cry.
like it's that stupid. To the comparison you're comparing, there is no comparison there.
I'm
So
making
that's why
friends on
it's
the left that I never knew I had, because now, we have something
Same.
common,
right.
I
right?
have
We
to
have,
say
because,
today on TikTok, I
yeah,
mean, I hate TikTok. I don't like scrolling. I won't. But I posted like some slides. I was like, oh, I didn't like to do slides. Sound like a boomer right now. Put slides on there, and all these like Generation Z and Alpha. Oh yeah, and then I'm talking on there, and I'm explaining. They're like, oh yeah, Larry Ellison's bad. It's like, well, did you realize his first job was with the CIA? And they're all like, no, and it's like, oh, and they're leftists, and they're
uh-huh.
younger than me, and we're like having great conversation. We're like, whoa, unity. Okay, let's go. Let's talk. Let's talk more. Come on,
One
I can get you a
one of
wife.
the
No,
best
this is
things
going to,
I've heard is that you have more in common with the person in the other political party, the average Joe. If you're a Republican, you have more in common with the average Democrat than you do with
Mhm.
that right wing multi
Yeah,
billionaire politician, multi-millionaire.
uh-huh.
And that's what they want you to not recognize. We
Right.
have more in common with we have been as a society in America, we have been completely separated from a sense of community. People barely even know their neighbors anymore. It's
Uh-huh.
I don't know. People don't walk up, "Oh, welcome to the neighborhood. How are you?" It's like that's not really a thing anymore
Uh-huh.
And
because people are
unfortunately, all the neighbors know me.
yeah, well.
Horses and
It's
dogs.
yeah, when you got horses and dogs and stuff. But it's so sad that people think that for some reason even Donald Trump, we have more in common with Donald Trump than the person next door that's going and working the 9 to 5,
Uh-huh.
that have kids and just want to live their life in safety, security, and raise their children. And that's what people want to do.
Yeah.
Like you leave politics out of it, that's what people want to do at the end of the day. It's the people that we're cheering on way up there that we put on a pedestal that's pulling the strings and making this hell that we're arguing about capitalism and all and the left and right. That's why everything's got to be political.
Yeah.
People really need to
Politics is a
understand
good,
this.
religion and politics always divided people. So it's a good way to keep the people divided so they're easier to control.
It's not new. It's not a new tool. It's been around for a
Oh,
very, very,
very long
very
time.
long time.
Yeah, very
Well, and
long time.
even this was an accidental moment today, but I was telling Trey, I was like, oh, I'm going to use TikTok because I want to be a problem. I got to be a problem now. You're telling me to shut up. I have to be a problem. I'm going to be a problem harder. And Trey's like, oh, you're poking the bear. And then I was like talking. He's like, oh, and the bee's nest. I was like, well, you poke the bear and the bee's nest and they all fight with each other and you do your thing. And this is so the politicians know this too. The
Yeah.
powers
That's
be know
that's
this.
what they do.
I'm not evil. I'm not going to have a dark mind and go do that to people. But in a sense, that's what they're doing. Oh, we'll create this problem, this problem. You two hash it out. I'm going to do my thing. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Except a bee might
Well,
not attack a bear.
Hey, a bee's hive will go attack that bear for getting in their honey. Just saying.
Oh, the bear
yeah, that's
doesn't
true.
care. I know it attacks it, but it'll probably like, eh.
The point is they will both be distracted while you can do your
Oh,
thing.
sure.
So
Yeah.
my
Oh, I'm just kidding.
strategic plan on TikTok is, well, we can have bears and bees fighting and do our thing.
Until they start kicking us off and ban. I mean, our
I'll get
podcast has
probably
it.
banned. Probably
Yeah,
banned.
our podcast has a TikTok, and we post our clips and our quotes and stuff there too. So I'm sure, I'm sure it'll be if Netanyahu gets his way with TikTok, and it looks like they're going to start with that, then we won't be on TikTok anymore. We'll have to go to the other social media platforms, but we're going to keep on doing what we're doing.
I
And
have a feeling they're going to
I
like bombard us with more propaganda than
Mm-hmm.
censor. That's what's going to happen. So for one, article we post, they'll post like 20. And human
Yeah.
beings are
Yeah, that
not
might be
good
the
at,
case. You're
yeah,
kind of seeing that on X
mhm,
already. You have
yeah,
Yeah.
these
I have
weird
Israeli
Zionist
propaganda going
mhm,
on.
accounts that there's no pictures of people. It's all
yeah,
weird, like AI
uh-huh,
generated warrior animal images that I've seen on there, and they got the Israeli flags all over it, and it's got Jewish Zionist on there, and they
mhm,
they never have more than they all have somewhere between the realm of 10 to 30,000 followers.
yeah, yeah. These are
And
probably all
that's
fake. And I see them on
is
Facebook too. So
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
it's really weird. I don't know. I'd like to get to the point where we can do an episode on something else other than all this craziness that's happening, but it's like literally every week something is popping up that has to do with Israel, Gaza, and it's affecting our lives here in the US. So
Hey, we
I
can
guess
tone it down and do an episode about how not to get fat during the holidays.
what?
way to
We can
go
tone it
ruin
down.
people's holidays, Andrea.
Yeah,
I'm good at
this
that.
is this is what happens when you have two naturopaths on a
On either side of you.
podcast. So, but we are out of time, so I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next episode.
See you guys.